If you watch the seasons turn or the sun cross the sky, time feels like an organic, natural flow. But the seconds ticking by on your phone, the synchronized schedules of a train station, these are rigid, mechanical constructs. The coordinated time zones and precise calendars we live by were not discovered in nature. They were designed, legislated, and enforced by human beings. By defining the exact rhythm of the collective day, these institutions developed a way to organize millions of lives at once, turning the passage of time into a tool for coordinating human behavior. For most of human history, time was entirely local. If you lived in the 19th century, noon was determined by the exact moment the sun reached its absolute highest point in the sky directly over your town. Because the Earth rotates continuously, every city to the east or west had a slightly different noon. The United States alone operated on hundreds of distinct local times. This worked perfectly well when the fastest way to travel was a horse-drawn carriage, but it created bizarre anomalies. Look at the clock face on the Bristol Exchange. It literally has 2-minute hands, forcing residents to track two different realities, local solar time and the new standardized time creeping in from the capital. The invention that shattered this localized piece was the steam locomotive. Suddenly, humans were traveling across longitudes faster than the sun's natural schedule. In August 1853, two passenger trains on the Providence and Worcester Railroad collided head-on in Valley Falls, Rhode Island. 14 people died. The investigation revealed that a conductor's watch was exactly 2 minutes behind the railroad's mandated schedule. The industrial age had reached a physical limit. A continent-spanning, high-speed rail network could no longer safely operate on the unpredictable, decentralized rhythms of nature. In 1883, railroad corporations bypassed the government, carving the continent into 4 standardized time zones. On November 18th, the day of 2 noons, executives unilaterally rewrote time, moving entire cities to a new corporate schedule to prioritize their freight networks. While railroads synchronized continents, transoceanic telegraphs and international shipping lines demanded an even larger grid. The entire planet needed to agree on a single starting line, a longitude 0. In October 1884, U.S. President Chester A. Arthur invited representatives from 25 nations to Washington, D.C. Their task at the International Meridian Conference was to debate which country would control the mathematical center of the world's clock. The French delegation pushed for a neutral meridian, but the vote was swayed by the dominance of the British Empire's merchant fleet. The literal starting point for every clock on Earth was prominently anchored to serve the commercial and logistical interests of an empire. If controlling the hour dictates trade, controlling the calendar dictates collective memory. No group understood this better than the leaders of the French Revolution in 1793. To strip the church's power, revolutionaries abolished the 7-day week. These tables show their new decimal system, 10-day weeks and 10-hour days. History reset to year 1. They scrubbed saints' days and renamed months after the seasons, severing psychological ties to the old monarchy. While the French experiment eventually collapsed, a much more permanent synchronization was taking hold in Britain. The everyday rhythm of daily life was rapidly being overwritten by the relentless mechanical demands of iron and steam. Before industrialization, agricultural workers operated on task time, working until the crops were harvested or the job was done. The factory demanded labor by the hour, requiring hundreds of people to start and stop their movements in exact mechanical unison. To enforce this new reality, human bodies were strictly policed in mill towns across Britain. Workers hired knocker-uppers, people who walked the streets with long poles to tap on upper-story windows, ensuring the labor force woke up exactly on schedule. The Industrial Revolution successfully synchronized human biology with the pace of machinery, fixing the value of time to the productivity of the factory floor. Today, we live entirely inside the framework built by those 19th-century railways and factories. It has become the invisible, inescapable grid of modern life. Our global supply chains, our digital communications, and the financial markets, where algorithms execute trades in fractions of a microsecond, rely on perfect, continuous synchronization. We rarely question this architecture. We set our alarms, drink caffeine to override our natural sleep cycles, and mold our daily routines to fit its rigid parameters. But the numbers on your phone and the calendar on your wall are not objective laws of nature. They're inherited artifacts from Victorian merchants and imperial fleets. The clock functions as a pervasive system of permission, dictating the specific boundaries of where and how we are allowed to occupy space.